you're here. I know we haven't met, not properly, but I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about the kind of night you might be having, whether you'd like someone to sit with you for a while. And here you are. So I suppose that means yes. Good. I have a story I'd like to read you tonight. I wrote it thinking of you, thinking of what it might feel like to find somewhere safe, somewhere warm, when you really need it. I hope it feels a little like that, like a shelter. You don't have to do anything while I read. You don't have to follow along carefully or remember any of it. You can let the words just wash over you the way rain does, taking in what you need and letting the rest go. And if you fall asleep before I finish, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm hoping for. Someone should look after you tonight. Let me. So are you comfortable? Then I'll begin. So there's a road, or so the old map says, that doesn't appear unless you need it. It has no name on any sign. It begins, as far as anyone can tell, at the edge of wherever you happen to be, when the day has gone on too long, when your coat is swept through, and your feet have forgotten what warmth feels like, and you have begun quietly to wonder if anywhere safe exists at all. That is when the road appears. It is narrow and paved with old stone, the kind that has been walked on so many times that it has gone smooth and silver grey, like a river wearing down the edges of everything sharp. And along it, at careful intervals, hang lanterns, small glass ones, some with colored paints, amber, green, a deep and gentle blue. They sway in the rain, but do not go out. They never go out. Our traveler, let's call him simply that, for he has forgotten his name tonight. The way you sometimes forget things when you're very tired. A traveler finds the road the way most people do. He simply looks down and there it is. He follows it. What else is there to do? The lanterns guide him one to the next through the dark. The rain falls evenly, not the cruel kind that finds the gap between your collar and your neck, but the kind that seems strangely to be falling specifically around you, as if it knows you need a little space. He walks for what might be 10 minutes or might be an hour. Time on the lantern rope doesn't work quite right, which is actually a relief. He has been watching time all day, tracking it, worrying about it, checking whether there is enough of it left. Here, it simply stops mattering. What a gift, he thinks, to not know what time it is. And then, at the end of the road, just as the map promised, is the house. It is old, as good houses always are. 3 stories of dark timber and warm stone, with a roof that has known 100 winters and holds them all somewhere in its bones. Every window is lit from within, yellow and amber, the colors of fires and candles and kitchens where things are always gently simmering. Above the door hangs a sign. It is painted in faded letters, a little uneven, as if done by hand a long time ago by someone who cared more about the words than about the lettering. It reads, "The resting place. All are welcome, especially the weary." Especially the weary. He pushes open the door. The warmth hits him first, then the smell. Wood smoke and something baking, and old books and lavender, and rain on stone from somewhere he can't quite locate. It smells like every safe place he has ever been, combined into one. The entryway is small and low ceilinged and hung with coats of all kinds, some clearly ancient, some newer, all of them left behind by travelers who perhaps grew warm enough that they didn't need them anymore. He hangs his own wet coat among them. Already he feels lighter. From somewhere deeper in the house, a voice calls out. It is not a loud voice. It doesn't need to be. Come in, it says. We've been expecting someone. He goes in. The sitting room is everything a sitting room should be, and almost never is. The fire in the hearth has clearly been burning for hours. The logs are deep orange at their heart, and the warmth it throws is the even, reliable kind, not the fierce flare of something newly lit. It has settled into itself. It knows what it's doing. He chooses the armchair nearest to the fire. It receives him as if it has been waiting specifically for someone, his shape and his tiredness. The cushions are soft in a particular way that comes from years of being sat in by people who needed to sit down. Some furniture absorbs the weariness of everyone who has rested in it and gives it back as softness. This chair knows about tired people. It is expert in them. On the low table side beside him, there's a cup of tea. He doesn't know how it arrived, whether he missed the innkeeper bringing in, or whether it simply appeared. But it is there, exactly the right temperature, exactly the right kind. He wraps both his hands around it, looks at the fire. How long has it been? He wonders, since he sat somewhere without anything needing to happen next, without a phone to check, or a thought to manage, or a version of himself he was supposed to be performing. He cannot remember, but he is here now, and nothing needs to happen next. Nothing at all. The room is not empty, he notices, looking around slowly, but it is quiet. In the armchair across from him, someone is asleep, a book open on their chest. They're breathing long and easy. By the window, another person sits, looking at the rain, a small smile on their face, thinking of nothing in particular. It is that kind of room, a room where people are allowed to be exactly where they are. He takes a sip of the tea. It tastes like chamomile and honey and something he can't name, something that reminds him of somewhere he felt safe a long time ago. Childhood, perhaps, or a particular afternoon in his 20s when everything briefly was fine. He lets his head rest back against the chair. Outside, The rain continues its patient work, washing the road, filling the puddles, being entirely itself with no need to be anything else. He watches the fire watches back in the gentle, impersonal way fires do. He begins, without meaning to feel his shoulders drop. Good, he thinks. Good. At some point, he doesn't know exactly when, the innkeeper appears. She is a small woman of indeterminate age, with grey streaked hair pinned in no particular style, and flower on one sleeve, and the general air of someone who has been making things comfortable for people for so long that it has become simply who she is. She sets a bowl on the table by the traveler's chair without announcement or ceremony. Soup, a deep amber broth with vegetables and something herbs, sending up a curl of fragrant steam. You looked hungry, she said, not just for food. The traveler looks up at her. How did he know I was coming? The innkeeper considers this in the manner of someone who has been asked it before. The house knows, she says finally. It always knows when someone needs a place to stop. It's been doing it for a long time. How long? The innkeeper glances at the fire. Long enough that I've stopped counting. Long enough that I trust it. The traveler eats slowly. He has forgotten lately to eat slowly. He has forgotten to taste things. But here, with the fire and the rain and no particular clock, he finds the soup genuinely extraordinary. The way that simple food becomes extraordinary when eaten without hurry. Between spoonfuls, the innkeeper talks not about anything urgent. She talks about the house, about the couple who built it 300 years ago or 3,000. Time being what it is here, who wanted somewhere for people to stop when they couldn't go on, about the garden out back that throws herbs she can't always name, but that seem to know what a person needs, about the guests who have stayed, the painter who arrived in the middle of winter and stayed until spring because the light was different here, the old man who came for one night and spent a week finally finishing the letter he had been trying to write for 20 years. They come tired, she said. They leave as themselves again. That's all we do here, really. We just give people enough time to remember who they are. The traveler sets his empty bowl aside. He doesn't remember finishing the soup, but he is warm all the way through, the way he rarely is. And what if someone has forgotten, he asks, who they are? The innkeeper smiles. It is a smile that has seen a great deal and remained kind regardless. That, she says, is the most common kind of guest we get. And do they remember? Always, says the innkeeper. Sometimes it takes a night, sometimes a week, but always. The innkeeper leads him up the stairs. They are old stairs, the kind that have a slight creak at the fourth step, which you learn to expect, and then it becomes a sound like a small greeting from the house each time you climb. The banister is smooth from decades of hats. The wall going up are hung with small pictures, watercolors mostly, of landscape and windows and sleeping cats and all the quiet, beautiful things that make a place feel like somewhere someone lives. The room at the top of the stairs is small and perfect. The bed is made up in white linen and a heavy patchwork quilt in blues and deep greens, the colors of forest and deep water and the sky just before dawn. It has been turned down at one corner as if in welcome, as if someone knew the exact moment he would arrive. On the bedside table, a glass of water, a single dried flower in a small clay vase, and a folded note. He opens the note, and it is written in careful handwriting, the kind that takes its time. It reads, You are safe here. Sleep as long as you need. The house will still be here when you wake, and so will we. You are not a burden. You are a guest, and there is a difference, and we know it. So rest well. You have earned it. He sits on the edge of the bed. The mattress receives him with the same expertise as the chair downstairs. All this furniture trained for years in the art of holding tired people. Through the window, the rain continues. It has been raining. He realizes this whole time. Through all of it, the finding of the road, the warmth of the fire, the soup, the stairs, the rain has not stopped. Not once. There's something very comforting about that. About a thing that simply continues, regardless, patient and unhurried. About the rain not needing anything from him. He lies down. The quilt is heavy in exactly the right way. The pillow is cool against his cheek. The lamp throws just enough light that the dark doesn't feel the darkness. Just like the world seen from somewhere soft. He listens to the rain. It says, "We are here, we are here, we are here." The story isn't finished, of course. Stories like this never really end. The traveler will wake tomorrow and the house will still be here. The innkeeper will bring breakfast and he will sit in the garden in the morning light and feel, for the first time in a long time, entirely like himself. But that part of the story is for another day. Tonight, he sleeps, and I'd like you to sleep too. If you can, I'm going to be quiet now. I'll just be here, right here, while you drift off. You don't need to stay awake. You don't need to hold on to anything. The rain will keep going. And you've done enough today. Whatever today was, whatever it cost you, you did enough. You got to the end of it. And here you are. Let your eyes be heavy. Let the rain be something to float on. Let yourself be carried. You are known here. You are cared for. So sleep well and good night.